Pornography is more than what you see. It propagates a specific view of man, morality, and life. It is not, at its root, about titillation, though that is how peddlers market it to consumers. There are intellectual props on which pornography rests, a philosophy of perversion, the worldview of man freed from God and his law. The real horror of pornography is its positive declaration of a new moral ethic. Pornography cannot be dealt with in isolation from its accompanying worldview, one that seeks not simply to excuse rebellion from God, but to defend it as true freedom. Pornography is a symptom, a particular manifestation of the humanistic evolutionary worldview. It is one aspect of a worldview that sees power as coming from below. In the case of pornography, it sees a vital aspect of sex as its aggression and exploitation. People are used as objects, but exploitation and manipulation prove insufficiently satisfying. Violence becomes the pure exercise of raw power. Pornography involves hypersexuality, when people desire to voyeuristically observe more than they are capable of practicing. Pornography refers the inner world of the imagination. Pornographic images are intended to satisfy the inner world of the imagination, a fantasy world where people can be manipulated and violated without consequences. The so-called modern mind resists all attempts to control evil, particularly evils that are characterized as self-expression. It is ready to oppose all censorship as a matter of principle and defends such opposition to standards as a moral stand in itself. All forms of sexuality are considered natural and therefore normal and good. Whatever man imagines or desires is seen as natural and therefore permissible. Richard Enrico of Virginia, who formed Citizens Against Pornography, CAP. Within a short time, CAP enlisted 300 churches, which succeeded in pressurizing Dart Drug and other chain stores to stop selling offensive material. Joseph Chambers of North Carolina mobilized enough citizens to pass a law which resulted in the closing down of over 500 adult bookstores. Dr. Jerry Kirk organized a Stop Standing Together Opposing Pornography campaign that cleaned pornography out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Then Dr. Kirk went on to establish the National Coalition Against Pornography, NCAP, now called Pure Hope. NCAP, or NCAP, has so mobilized public opinion in America against the pornography industry that they have succeeded in cleaning up over 26 cities. NCAP, or NCAP, attributes their victories in Cincinnati, Oklahoma City, Dallas, and other cities to build up community support and developing cooperation with the local police, vice squad, and a state prosecutor. This triangle of public, police, and prosecutor is a proven strategy to defeat pornography. The pornification of South Africa. Unless we fight porn vigilantly like these brave heroes, it will become even more prevalent in South African society. Errol Naidu, director of the Family Policy Institute, says, "What the media makes acceptable becomes acceptable in society, simply because the impression is created that it's all over the show. Most people do not realize that porn has already seeped into their daily lives through the media. Also, by general media pushing the envelope, it opens the door for the smut merchants to go further and further." ETV started with softcore porn and got away with it. Now they are airing more and more indecent material without people realizing it. Before we realize it, and unless we take a stand, we will have full-blown porn on TV. We are like the frog in water. The temperature slowly goes up to the boiling point, and we don't realize that our society is headed for spiritual death because it happens gradually. We have to take a stand against the sexualization of society all around us. Errol speaks of the local newspapers such as the Cape Argus, which advertises strip shows and sex lines. Think also of magazines such as FHM and Cosmo, which are always pushing the boundaries. Many hotels overseas have porn channels, for example, Holiday Inn and Sun International. If you're planning to stay at a hotel, find out if they have a porn channel, and if so, stay somewhere else, and tell them that this is the reason for cancelling your booking. At the very least, request that the channel be disenabled and voice your complaint. According to a Holiday Inn spokesperson, it is international standard with Holiday Inn that a book of faith be placed at a reception due to the fact that not all guests are Christians, and those who are not object to only Bibles being placed in the rooms. They do not keep a Bible in the hotel rooms, yet they insist that porn must be available in each one. In 2003, Absa Bank sponsored an art competition from which works of art depicting orgies, bestiality, rape and genitals were chosen. These were put on display in different centres in South Africa, including the Bellville Library. After complaints were made, the display was taken down early. The question is, how many people will pass that art before something was done? A former editor of Hustler said they had a broader group of people responding and ordering from their catalogue after being on Radio 702's Sex Talk show. If we hear porn or promiscuity being promoted on radio under the guise of sex advice, we need to phone in and voice our opinion, always pointing people to a better way, God's way. We agree with Mr. Rushduni that modern faith in man and the ultimacy of his urges must be counselled with the claims of God as the sovereign dispenser of law and grace. Man must approach God in faith and respond to him in faithful obedience. The choice for man in his culture is life or death. Ephesians 6-12. Prayer is our most powerful weapon against the pornographers. Prayer for the victims of porn, the children, the rape victims, and those who have been manipulated into prostitution. Also pray that God's justice will prevail and that this wicked industry will be bankrupted.